Is DRM the doom of all mankind? In a way, yes, it absolutely is. DRM is one of the worst ideas ever conceived by humanity, with the sole purpose of screwing itself over. You've probably seen the video where I talk about what DRM is in the form of the Gaming Codex episode something something DRM. I'm gonna give you a short summary of what that is. Digital rights management. Effectively, a kill switch in the software, in the hardware, in the media that you buy, which will at one point trigger and prevent you from ever using it again even though you bought it. And the very important bit, the Digital Millennium Copyrights Act makes circumventing DRM illegal for pretty much any reason. Even if you own the media that you're trying to circumvent the DRM of, what you're doing is kind of illegal. You could face some really bad time if you do it in a way that, let's say, helps others do it too. And because it's a law made in the USA, it is enforced at a global level by the very tight and uncomfortably illegal connection between the corporate media industry and the American authorities that have basically carte blanche to do whatever they want to at a global level, which includes being extradited to the USA even though you've never been there or have anything to do with it. The DRM began as an idea of helping the creator of a piece of content to protect their work. You know, the code wheels from Monkey Island, the passwords you need to type in to be able to access a game, the CD keys. And because distribution was for the most time a pain in the ass and screw it, pirating something is faster, more efficient, and I'm guaranteed that somebody at least tested this thing and made sure it worked, piracy kind of became a really good option. Sure, that did mean that in some cases, sales did go down, and kind of isolated cases because the music industry is doing better than ever, so is the movie industry. Everything's doing better than ever, even with piracy. Mostly because they have switched in the past couple of years to digital distribution, so you can actually get the stuff you need quickly, efficiently, effectively. Because as Gabe Newell said, piracy is a distribution problem. One that is fixable, easily fixable. It's pretty much fixed at this point. And yet we still have DRM, various forms of DRM, some of which can be quite annoying and downright, well, I wouldn't say evil, but they will absolutely ruin the thing that you bought. I'm not talking about Denuvo. Denuvo is the least important thing in this discussion. It's the games as a service idea. That was created simply for DRM. There is no other reason for it to exist other than DRM. It's so that nobody else can play the game unless the publisher, the developer says they can. Which is okay, yeah, sure. It's your product, you can sell it to whoever you want to. But here's the problem with the games as a service thing. At some point, the service will be discontinued. And when that happens, the game you bought is not going to be usable, it's going to die. And I'm not referring to MMOs here, I'm not referring to World of Warcraft, to Tabula Rasa, I'm not referring to Auto Assault, I'm referring to games that are not even what you would call multiplayer ones. I'm not talking about Destiny, even The Crew. No. I'm talking about what happened recently with Assassin's Creed Origins. Pardon, Odyssey. They're kind of similar. It was launched. The servers were DDoSed, meaning they were attacked with spam, probably by a toaster oven and the fridge that somebody bought and decided, you know what, I'm gonna connect into my my Wi-Fi because I wanna toast some bread and make some ice cubes while I'm in the car coming back from work, and I was too lazy to push a button when I got home, so now that thing is mining crypto and DDoSing Ubisoft. When the attack happened, it meant that nobody could play the game, that nobody could play a single player game, that nobody could access the game they paid for, because these servers that are used for activation, for validation, for making sure that at each and every moment, you are not stealing the game from Ubisoft, were not accessible by the general audience. They were locked out of a game that they had bought and were expecting to play. Now, to Ubisoft's credit, they dealt with it. They fixed the issue within a couple of hours. But the issue at a fundamental level is still there. If your internet hiccups, it's still gonna happen. If their servers go down for any reason, it's still gonna happen. You're left with a bunch of dead code that you can no longer use. And unless Ubisoft specifically issues a removal of the DRM, if you do it, it's illegal for some reason. Oh, yeah, it's because of the Digital Millennium Copyright Act that says it's illegal. It's illegal for software that you own, that you bought, to be used by you the way you want it to be used. Because technically you don't own it. It's licensed. It's loaned to you, almost. Leased, if you will, I guess. It goes back to the idea that you do not own your own software and, well, technically you don't own some of your hardware. If you have a phone that is made by a certain company that is called after fruit, if you try and fix it by yourself, odds are you will be locked out of it even if you did everything perfectly and did not damage anything. You will be locked out of your device because you fixed it yourself. You did not ask for permission for it to be, you did not pay for permission for it to be fixed. That's DRM. It takes your rights away. It is digital rights management. It manages to remove your rights. It's the thing that will kick you out of Here's a Might and Magic 6 while you're in combat because the internet had a hiccup and not even let you save. It's the thing that will prevent you from actually using the stuff you bought the way you want to. And everybody has accepted that as being the fact of the matter. That's how things work. I mean, otherwise the pirates would take over and the pirates are already pirating that stuff. They're removing the DRM and playing it without it. They're giving a better experience to everybody because the experience they're giving is evergreen. It will never die. You cannot activate a kill switch on a pirated piece of software because it removed the kill switch. There's no more server activation. There's nothing in there that prevents you from using the software that you bought the way you want it to be used. For the most part, DRM simply punishes the people that have bought the game. That's what it's always done. It limits your options, it removes control, it takes the power from you and gives it to, well, you don't even know who. Just know that somebody now has root access on your computer. And oh yeah, your CD drive may not be working anymore, because that's what Star Force used to do. Some DRM is basically malware. If you're gonna say de novo again, yeah, that thing may slow down your system depending on how badly implemented it is, but compared to what was before, de novo is kind of weak sauce, if you will. And DRM, depending on what form it is in, may also mean no mod support, because why would you want to be able to modify the thing that you bought and make it suit your needs? You could always buy the next version and hope that that will do a better job than the current version. And it's everywhere. It's not just in software, not just in hardware. It's in music, it's in books. There's a very famous incident around 2009 when some books by George Orwell, 1984 and Animal Farm, were taken off Amazon. They were being sold as ebooks through Amazon, and they were also removed from the devices, the Kindle devices of everyone that bought them, because turns out they were being sold by someone that didn't have the rights to those books. But they had the DRM in them for some reason, so everybody that spent money on the books and wanted to read them and paid money to Amazon, because Amazon got a cut of that, they were now minus 1 or 2 books. And mind you, this was with the end user license agreement stipulating that you have the right to keep a permanent copy of the digital content. They went against their own end user license agreement. Though mind you, an EULA is not a legal document. It's toilet paper. Just because you click I agree doesn't make it legally binding. It is not enforceable. It is just a incredibly complicated and obtuse and very, very obfuscated way of the company trying to cover its ass using stupid illegal mumbo-jumbo jargon that only its lawyers can understand. And mind you, its main defense will always be the fact that a company so big can afford very expensive lawyers that will essentially murder you if you ever decide to try and sue said company. The kind of lawyers that manage to convince people that DRM everywhere is a good idea and that removing that DRM is a crime. And does this mean that DRM is really the doom of all mankind? Well, imagine if you apply DRM to knowledge. Imagine if Wikipedia had DRM in it. Imagine if textbooks had DRM. Imagine if scientific documents had... Well, they kind of sort of do. Well, apart from Wikipedia, but there is a very, very strong tendency to keep knowledge behind paywalls, behind DRM, and the people that try and circumvent that are... when you have the time, look up what happened to Aaron Swartz. I think Neil deGrasse Tyson put it best in his Cosmos series about how the Library of Alexandria was destroyed by the mob that was not enlightened by it, did not understand it, could not access it. I'm paraphrasing here, but the idea was, what are we going to do when the mob comes again? I'll tell you what you won't be able to do: play any Ubisoft game or any Blizzard game from the recent years, because they all require online activation to be able to start them, like to even play them, because some of them run on servers. You have a ping, a latency to your own single player game that you paid for. It's not even some free piece of software that you pay with through your presence in its online world, like Battle of X or something. You paid money to be demeaned, to be humiliated, to be the butt of a joke. Heck, even Steam is DRM. It solved a lot of issues, but it's still DRM. And if you feel the same, then join me in the comments in saying, well, the same thing that GOG has been saying for a while now with its very eloquently titled campaign, and that is, fuck DRM. Goodbye.